Hello everyone, I'm Imtiaz Ahmed from Indiana University, and I will be presenting our joint work with University of Pittsburgh that explores bystanders' perceptions of tangible privacy controls for smart speakers. Smart devices have become an integral part of our modern lives. Among them, network-connected smart speakers are becoming increasingly pervasive in our households. These devices make it convenient to perform many daily tasks such as setting alarms, playing songs, scheduling events, or controlling other smart home appliances. Despite their positive roles in making our lives convenient, researchers have identified several potential privacy threats perceived by the users. In an infamous event in 2020, an Amazon Echo secretly recorded a couple's private conversation and then sent it to their employee without their permission. The situation is even worse for bystanders who are not the owners of the devices. Owners, being the primary users, often have better understanding and control of the devices, unlike bystanders, who are often faced with an uncertain sense of their privacy. For example, if the screen of an Echo Show is off, there is no way for a bystander to know if the device is actually off or in a sleep mode, where it's still capable of listening. Prior works have proposed several privacy-enhancing mechanisms for smart speakers, such as enabling users to access, review, and delete past voice recordings, blocking or jamming the microphone of the assistants using ultrasound, or intelligently filtering sensitive conversations using machine learning algorithms. More recently, the use of hardware-based tangible mechanisms have been proposed to ensure user privacy for smart speakers. The goal of this study is to evaluate bystanders' perception of using such tangible privacy mechanisms to ensure user privacy. Now, what is tangible privacy mechanisms? Tangible privacy mechanisms are defined as those privacy control and feedback mechanisms that can be manipulated or perceived by touch and also provide high assurance of privacy to the users. For this study, we sought to answer three high-level research questions. The first question we want to answer is, how can tangible privacy mechanisms be integrated into the design space of smart voice assistants in the context of embedded microphones? The second one we want to answer is, do tangible privacy mechanisms affect users' perceived reliability, trust, sense of risk, and sense of control over smart voice assistants? And finally, we want to assess whether tangible privacy mechanisms affect users' perceived usability of smart speakers, and is there a trade-off between usability and the metrics mentioned in the previous question? To answer these questions, we conducted an online survey with 261 participants who had prior experience of using smart speakers. We ran a between subject study where each participant was randomly assigned to one of six experimental design prototypes. We performed a mixed method analysis, where for the quantitative analysis, we used multiple linear regression. We used AIC values to determine the best fitting models. Besides, we conducted exploratory factor analysis to identify underlying factors for all the dependent variables and the covariates. For the qualitative analysis, we conducted thematic analysis in a bottom-up approach to dig out the themes relating to our quantitative findings. We had five dependent variables. They are perceived usability, perceived reliability, trust, sense of risk, and sense of control. We had two independent variables. They are control and feedback mechanisms, which varied in terms of whether they are software or hardware-based ones. We also used four covariates. They are technical competence, privacy self-efficacy, privacy awareness, and privacy preference. To be in line with the findings of prior work, we considered both control and feedback in our designs. We used two types of control mechanisms for muting and unmuting the prototypes. First is the hardware-based control, which is a physical slider on the device surface. And the second one is a software-based control, which is a virtual slider that had to be used from a smartphone app. In addition to these, we use three types of feedback mechanisms. The first one, again, is a hardware-based one, which is a visible audio jack connection that connects and disconnects based on whether the microphone is on or off. The second one is the software-based one, which is a textual notification from a smartphone app about the microphone's current status. And the last one is the LED-based one, which is the most commonly used feedback mechanism in today's devices, where if the LED is green, it means the mic is on, and when the LED is red, it means the mic is off. We designed 6 experimental prototypes where we had varied combination of these two types of control and three types of feedback mechanisms. Next, we will see some of the key quantitative findings from our study. We found that the type of control mechanism has significant effect over perceived usability, which is indicated by an 11-unit increase in perceived usability when the control mechanism is switched from software-based one to a hardware-based one. However, we did not find any significant effect of feedback mechanisms. Usability ratings for all combinations of physical controls is considerably higher compared to combinations with software control. One interesting thing we found was that none of our participants disagreed that the combination of physical control and LED feedback increases the usability of a prototype. We also found that the combination of these two, like the physical control and the LED feedback, significantly increases the perceived usability compared to other combinations of control and feedback. Due to time constraint, I'm presenting the findings regarding one of the dependent variables. You can find the detailed findings regarding the other variables in our paper. We found that the type of control mechanism used has significant effect on perceived trust, which is indicated by a 41% increase in perceived trust when the control mechanism was changed from software-based one to a hardware-based one. In general, perceived trust rating for all combinations with physical control was considerably higher compared to combinations with software control. Although we did not find any significant effect of feedback mechanism, but we found that with physical feedback, participants tend to trust the device or the prototype more compared to LED and software feedback. Next, we will talk about some of the key qualitative findings. The main reason for preferring hardware-based controls, as mentioned by our participants, is that they felt hardware-based controls are more reliable and easy to use. They like the idea of physically interacting with the devices. For example, P147 found it easier to navigate and understand when the device is muted due to the physical interaction he had. Participants mentioned that software controls are unreliable, which may provide a false sense of privacy to them. They were mostly worried that software controls might fail without any notice, and thus they might be exposed to unwanted recordings. Apart from the control mechanism, they regarded feedback using LEDs can be deceptive at times, mainly because they can be compromised by adversaries and the LEDs have ambiguous interpretation. A repeatedly mentioned theme was that our participants preferred on-device and easy-to-access control mechanisms. Participants expressed the need to instantly read the system state from the manipulated object for whenever they are controlling their devices. For example, they like the idea of physically showing the disconnection when they muted the microphone. Also, they wanted the controls to be self-explanatory so that users can easily understand what to do and how to do it when they want to control or mute a device. Lastly, participants expressed the urge to be in control of their own privacy mechanisms. They did not want to rely on any third-party software application or function to mute a device. This is in line with prior studies where it has been shown that users' sense of agency to the device is much higher when they physically interact with that device. Finally, the contribution of the study is threefold. First, we showed that tangible physical control to mute and unmute devices provides a statistically significant increase in people's perception of trust, usability, and control of the devices. Second, we found that the physical feedback from devices do not add any extra value in terms of users' privacy evaluation. And lastly, we did not find any evidence of usability and privacy trade-off for tangible privacy mechanisms in the context of smart speakers, meaning that designers can incorporate tangible privacy mechanisms for smart speakers without giving up the usability, and they can be used for providing a better sense of privacy to bystanders. Finally, I'd like to thank my amazing collaborators and would also like to thank the NSF for their support. Thank you for your patience. I hope you enjoyed that talk. Please feel free to ask me any questions.